Hey, look, for everyone who's been enjoying the Everyday Stranger podcast, make sure you hit that review tab on Apple Podcasts and make sure you write your review and give your boy some 5 stars. This is a great way to help the podcast grow and allow more people to be able to see it in the future. So don't forget to hit that review tab, give it a 5 stars, and I greatly appreciate that. All right, y'all, we're going to get right into it. All right, y'all, this is episode number 10 and also part 2 of 2 of episode number 9. It's the continuation of the conversation between me and D, where we were speaking about life after his suicide attempt and how he later became a photographer and how he actually found, photography quite therapeutic. We also speak about positive and negative male influences in our life, our fears, and it's a very, I would say, very transparent conversation between me and D, where we speak about things that we probably didn't normally talk about in public. So we're gonna go ahead and jump right into it. This is episode number 10, part 2 of 2 of episode number 9, becoming a photographer after a suicide attempt. All right, y'all have a good one and enjoy the episode. Peace. Crucial, bro. It really does. It helps me now at the end of the day because again, like I started Everyday Strangers from depression. You know what I mean?
It's crazy.
I had just got news that I was about to get divorced because I was in New York. I was in a room in New York and the flight got delayed because it was like crazy snow out there. Had just quit my job maybe 3-4 months prior to me being out there. I had to shoot I was out there because I was on a business trip. I was shooting a fashion line, or it was a project called Black Excellence, where I was like shooting like this for this fashion designer or stylist or whatever. And once when that was over, I got back to the room. I made a phone call, and one thing led to another. It was an argument between me and my ex, and then I was like, dang, man. Basically, the conclusion, the outcome of the conversation was that, we about to get a divorce. And, that whole time, bro, like I stayed in the room. I just like stayed in bed and looked at the ceiling for a long time. And it was like all these voices came up in my head, bro. Like anything that was said to me in the past that really hurt, it just kept coming back. And it was like every voice had like some kind of like person in the room with me, and they would just keep reminding me, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, Zoe, you're not a good father. You're not this. You're not talented. You need to be more like this photographer. You need to be more like this dude over here who got all the money. You need a car like him. Like all these things was like just kind of like smacking me in the face. I was like, yo. One of my greatest fears was rejection. I hated rejection with a passion. But my fear greater than that was getting a divorce. So when I was like, it's about to happen, and I was like, well, I was afraid of that, but it's about to happen now, so I ain't got no choice. So then, like, what else is there to really be afraid of now? Because I have no choice. I said, what if I take my depression and use that same attitude with that, the same way how I'm taking this divorce, which is something very traumatic for me. But so I got up, bro. I was like, I got to get out this room, grab my camera, hit the streets. And then that's really when I started, like just shooting mad people, with my camera, that is. And it was like over 50 plus people, bro. And I was just asking people. And out of those 50 plus people, man, only 2 people was like, nah, I don't want to do it. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Because prior to that, I was with a partner of mine in New York. We was in Brooklyn, Williamsburg to be exact. Yeah. And he was showing me around. And I was like, yo, you see that chick right there? You see the way she dressed? See, this is what I like taking pictures of. Right. He's like, yo, why don't you go ask her, yo? So I go ask her. I said, yo, excuse me, ma'am. You mind if I take it? No, I gotta move. I gotta go. And then she just burnt off, yo. And like I put my head down, bro. I was I felt so hurt from that situation. And my boy David would look at me like, yo, man, you all right? And I was like, yeah, man, I really wanted to get a picture of this chick, yo. She just walked off of me.
Bro, when I'm in the city,
yeah,
everybody looks at me crazy because they like, you just, you just. I mean, I'm not rude with it,
Yeah.
but I don't even ask. Like I throw the I throw the 24 to 70 on, and like I'm far enough away so that it's not rude,
Yeah.
but they look dead at me. They know exactly what I'm doing, and I usually by the time they notice and fix their face with an attitude, like I already got what like I got the shot already, and I'm
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I don't even ask, and it's because I don't like rejection. So because I don't like rejection, I don't even ask.
Yeah. That was something I was doing. No, you know what? You did way better than me because like I was shooting from the hip.
Oh,
And see, and that what happens, bro, you miss out on a good shot. I mean, sometimes you get lucky and you get a really good shot. But sometimes like shooting from the hip isn't accurate all the time because you got
yeah,
focal length and all this other stuff.
yeah.
And it was moments I look at the camera, I'm like, man, I didn't get the shot, yo.
What
And
what lens would you be shooting with when you
so
hit?
I had the best luck with my I had it's like a pancake lens. It was a 24 millimeter, and I
Okay,
had the 70D at the time.
okay,
And it wasn't full frame, so it was still iffy. Now I don't know what I was thinking. I was trying to use my 50 millimeter to do this, and that did not work at all. Everything was blurry, bro. Like,
right, right.
oh man, but again, like the reason why I was like, yo, I need to learn how to speak to people and approach them. It was because I was inspired by two photographers. One guy, he's current. He goes by the name of Scott Schulman, and he's like a fashion street photographer. Like I love those kind of shots. Like the composition that he displayed, it was very like attractive to me. You know what I mean? And then going back, a guy by the name of Jamal Shabazz, who actually is from New York, I believe. Yeah. Jamal Shabazz he captured like Harlem before the crack era, so you getting like shots of like black people at their prime. You feel me? And he would pose them. So it's like I would incorporate those two, and then I was like, I need something therapeutic in a sense, and I need to talk to somebody. So I have to master the art of approaching people and asking people questions. So I had to go ahead and just face that. I was like, yo, some people gonna reject me, some people won't. I use the ratio, right, where if I approach 100 people today, all 100 of those people ain't gonna say no. You know what I'm saying? So with that, cause it was mandatory because I had to get stories from the people who I was shooting. So I kept practicing, man, and that kind of
Right.
ended up being my style after that, you know.
Yeah. What's that saying? Oh man, what's that saying? Um, you can't hit shots you don't take, or
Yeah.
something like that.
True.
Something like that.
Yeah, you can't. It's something like you can't miss a shot that you never took, or you can't. Yeah, I know what you're saying. I think Michael Jordan has said something like that too about they asked him about the best shots or the worst shots that he's ever taken. He's like the ones that he never took or something like that. But
Like you'll miss 100% of the shots that you never take.
Right.
You 100% of the shots that you don't take.
That's
which
it. Yeah.
Facts.
Super facts. Yeah. But yeah, that's great. So man, but in your case though, I mean, do you like when you're depressed though, like what is that feeling like though? Do you hear a lot of voices in your head, or is it just I don't know, do you just feel something pressing up against you? Like what is the feeling that you have, if you can describe it?
So when I feel depressed, I just feel alone. And I feel like I'm in a room and the walls are closing in on me, and closing in on me to the point where I'm going to get crushed. And it it's one of those things where if it's kind of like with you, like if you don't do something, if you don't get up and do something, it's just gonna take me down to a really like it literally like I literally can feel. You ever see in the movies when they did? I don't know what it's called. Spike Lee does it a lot, where it's like a pan, not a pan, but it's like a zoom in, but a camera pull at the same time. It's like a zoom pull.
Oh, it was in the Malcolm X movie.
Yeah.
Before he got shot and everything. He was walking to it.
That's the best way that I can describe it.
Ooh.
And I see that bathroom that I was in when the gun went off, and I'm like, I don't want to be in that place again.
Right.
So I'll do something that I like doing, and it's usually buying sneakers or on my favorite clothing site, J Crew.
Yeah.
I'm looking for a new camera. Like it's stuff like I gotta do something. Like if I can get outside and go shoot, then I'll do that. But like a lot of times I'm at the office and I just get this to like my grandmother called me last night, and I haven't spoken to my grandmother in a while because she said something that I didn't like. And my grandmother was my everything because she was there when my mom wasn't. But then you find out, like I found out years and years later that my grandmother was manipulating me during that time that my mother wasn't there. And my mother knew it, and that's why that was part of the reason that we had a bad relationship, because my mom felt like I loved my grandmother more than her. And I'm like, yo, why didn't you tell me this? I didn't know this. But long story short, my grandmother called me last night, and she was like, yo, I'm 81 years old. And I'm like, you 81? She's like, yeah. I said, I thought you was in your 40s.
Oh,
She's like, why would you think that? I said, because that's what you would always say whenever somebody would ask you.
Oh, snap.
And she was like, I was just kidding. I know, I'm just playing. But she said, I'm not going to be around too much longer. And when she said that, the room started closing in, bro.
Yeah. Wow.
And I had to get off the phone with her. Because I couldn't have that conversation knowing, like, yo, I haven't seen my grandmother in years. And, like, now I need to make a change. I need to do something. I need to go see her, because that anxiety, that anxiety, man. And I guess that's what the room closing in on is. It's anxiety. Like,
yeah,
the anxiety that comes before that big depression blow up. Just knowing that I could possibly get back to that place, and I don't want to be there.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it just kind of feels like the walls are closing in on me, and I've got to get up and do something.
Yeah.
Just hit the net and go buy some sneakers, or go look at go see what new lenses is coming out. Just, I gotta do something.
Yeah. That's I definitely can identify with that feeling as well. Another thing, I got like probably 3 more questions, but I'm gonna say this, tell you the story real quick. I did my first solo exhibition for, like, I think this was like in February. I forgot what year it was, probably like 4 years ago. And this is after, like, having this like streak of like shooting all these people all over the country. Like it was like one of the best years ever for me, yo. Like I'm talking about, I was in Ferguson. I met the dude who was holding the camera phone footage after Mike Brown had got killed by the police and everything.
Oh, word.
Got to interview him. Yeah, it was great. Like, yo, so many things, bro. I just felt like it was spiritually driven because I was in situations that like I would have never imagined being in. And I was just on a high that whole year. And then eventually, I ended up getting my own studio, started strategizing like what I'm going to do next. Ended up meeting, getting connections and everything. One connection led to the other. And so I found a gallery for me to have my first solo exhibition. So, it was tough. It's a lot of politics and, doing these kind of shows. It's kind of like, being in the music business and everything. But needless to say, everything was a success. It was a small venue, but it was packed because there was a certain amount of people that sign that says maximum people, I don't know, 45 or whatever. I ended like tripling that, which made the venue packed. We had people outside, drinking wine, everything. People just speaking. It was a success. I went home, man. I was happy for a little bit, and then like I woke up the next day like, yo, what I'm gonna do next, man? You know what I'm saying? And I start kind of like fiddling. And I'm like feeling kind of like lost now because I was like, yo, I just did this big project. Like, yo, what am I supposed to do now? It's not like, it's not like I could just do this whole thing over again. I mean, I can, but, I need to do something else because I feel like I'll get bored of the same thing over and over again.
Right.
So, again, like, I was like, yo, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? And then something hit me. I called my homeboy. He was like, yo, man, how's the project going? I was like, yo, it's going, bro. I'm trying to figure out what's next. And I was like, yo, actually, I'm thinking about leaving the country, man. So the dude said, yo, you should do that, man. Kind of lay low, go to different countries and do the same thing you was doing here. And I was like, yeah. And then what if I learn the language too? And then I started picking up all these ideas and I was like, oh, I'm back. Okay, now I know what I'm doing. And then all that depression stuff was gone. It was like I had a project, you know what I'm saying? And but do you feel like us as men, you know what I mean? You feel like, because I know I remember seeing like people like my father, men all over the place, like people who we would label as men, you know what I'm saying? They always were doing something, rather it be, chopping down trees or fixing their car or washing their car or whatever it may be. It just seemed like they always had some kind of project. Do you feel like, based off your experience, you think that that's just something that like we as men need? I mean, not just men, everybody, but since it's two men here speaking, like you think that's maybe the key to making sure that we don't go like, off a cliff, you know what I'm saying? Or leading to suicide and everything like that. Like, what do you think is like the thing that can keep a man from actually pulling that trigger?
Oh man, two things. One, gotta be. When I think about the men that were around when I was coming up, so my dad wasn't really around. The only thing I really learned from my dad, and when I say learned, I don't mean that he taught me how to do it. But the only thing I learned from my dad was how to make a woman cry. And that as a kid, I'm like, this is what I guess this is what we're supposed to do to our women. So that's it's an awful thing. The and not that I learned like, oh, I know how to make a woman cry. Like, nah, it's more so the lesson that I learned from that was what not to do. A woman. and directly that was the male figure in my life, was my dad. He was extremely abusive, emotionally, physically. Yeah.
Yeah.
But the other men, so my grandfather he was an amazing guy. He was the first black man in the Bronx. I think the Bronx, and I think he started out in Harlem, but he was the first black man to own an Amoco gas station in not just the Bronx, but I think in New York.
Man.
And he came from Alabama with barely a high school education, and he ended up in Harlem. And there's stories about how he used to move with like Nicky Bonds and all like the gangsters in Harlem, and that's how he was able to get the money to start the cab company. From there, he sold the cab company and bought into a partnership to get a gas station. Then he sold this portion of that and then got his own gas station. So there's stories, but back to what you're saying, he was always moving. He was a businessman. Mm-hmm. All I knew was that he carried a briefcase every day. He woke up at the crack of dawn and he was at that gas station. He was working on cars. He was giving people jobs in the community. He bought a bunch of broken down cars and he parked them in the back of the gas station, and he allowed the homeless people in the community to sleep in those cars so that they would have somewhere to live. Wow. Not live, but like they, at least when it's cold out, they have some sort of shelter. If it's raining, they have some sort of shelter from the rain. Now it's a car, but you know, it beats the street. One thing that I saw him do every night, when he would close the station, he would stop by the Chinese food store and he would buy a quart of rib tips for his dog, and he would buy $50 worth of Chinese fried rice. And he'd drop the containers off at each car, at each of the cars that were parked in the back of his gas station. So at least those people had food to eat.
Wow.
Insane.
Yo. And it's your grandfather, you saying?
Yeah, it's my grandfather, man. Insane. People loved him, man. He knew everybody. He knew everybody. At his funeral, I never seen nothing like it. There were probably, and my grandmother was so upset, there were probably like 200 homeless people trying to come into the funeral home at the wake. Now, that looks bad. It doesn't look bad, but like there's people. Like my grandfather was a businessman, so he had like a lot of like high profile people at his funeral, and then you got all these homeless people smelling really bad coming. So it was just a really interesting dynamic. Like you had these homeless people that were walking up to his casket, open casket, and like kissing him on the forehead, kissing him on the cheek, putting pins pins on his suit jacket, putting things in the casket, it was just crazy. But that's the only man that I can look up to and say, I saw him do things that were greater than himself.
Right.
That were bigger than himself.
Man.
And the two dynamics my dad, who was selfish, physically abusive, emotionally abusive, and then my grandfather, who gave more of himself to people that he didn't even know.
Right.
Was an amazing provider, and he wasn't perfect. Like my grandfather, from what I hear, he left home. Like he left his family because I think it was a Spanish woman that he met in Harlem that stole him away from his family, but he made sure that he took care of his family. His wife and his kids still stayed in the same house in the Bronx.
Right.
He still paid that mortgage every month. He still bought groceries to the house every week. Still took my grandmother to work. Still, but he came back. Like he realized the mistake and he came back home. And it wasn't perfect, but he tried to make it right again. And you know, but this was another thing that I saw. Like that's what a man is supposed to do. Like, yeah, I made a mistake. I left my family. I left my wife. I left my kids, but I came back.
Right.
That's what's most important. So these are like indirect lessons that I was getting as a kid, and I knew that if I ever got married, like these are some of the things that I need to do. Like I need to make sure that no matter what, you take care of that family. Right. I never wanted to be in a situation where I'm married and then this other woman steals my heart away from my wife, and then I'm leaving home, and I don't want that.
Yeah. So
I guess that's why let me shut up before I get myself in trouble. Yeah, like when I get married, I want it to be for life.
Right.
I'm not leaving my wife. I'm not leaving my family ever for anything.
Word.
But I don't know if I answered your question. Like, a lot of the other men that were around me growing up were drug dealers, bro. Like,
word,
big time. So I'm seeing the Beamers, I'm seeing the Benzes, I'm seeing the watches, the jewelry, the big stupid dumb knots of money, the women that like I'm seeing all that, and I'm like, yo, this is what I need. Like, this is what I need. But I also need to be that man that takes care of his family, and I also need to make sure that I'm not the man that beats on his wife. So, yeah, I don't know if I answered your question.
No, you did, and I mean the answer actually led to the next question I was going to ask you, and then I have two more, and then we good. But the question was, well, I asked two at the same time. The first one is like, how important is legacy to you? And then after that, like who are you now compared to, if you can compare your old and new self, like how would you compare it? Do you see improvement, or, you know, with some things that you feel that you're definitely not anymore and who you are now?
Okay. Let's start the first one. What was the first question?
How important is legacy to you?
How important is legacy? Legacy is extremely important because I witnessed my grandfather's legacy be destroyed. Everything that man worked for every day of his life, that gas station, that $1 million business, like between the property and the business itself, he was worth $1 million. And when he died, I saw that business. Like, my grandmother didn't know how to run it. But she was desperate, so she put that business in the hands of his youngest son, who was a moron, and he completely ran the business into the ground. Completely ran the business into the ground.
Wow.
So I watched my grandfather's dream turn into, like, every day he'd get up and put his uniform on. Like, he was a boss. He was an owner, and he still put on a uniform, bro. He still put on an Amico shirt and Amico pants and boots and an Amico hat. And went down to that place of business and was there and helped and pumped gas and worked on cars. Like, he didn't have to do that.
Right.
But he knew that was his business. And it's important to take care of your business and build your business. I think he knew the importance of that because he came from the dirt. He came from Alabama.
Yeah.
There's nothing in Alabama. Nothing.
Nothing.
So he came from Alabama with nothing, and he built a business.
Yeah.
The Bronx with nothing. Like,
Man.
Can you imagine the conversation that we could have with that man?
Bro, that would be
crazy,
fam.
I would just like, and when he died, it was just like, you don't feel it. You don't feel that. Like, I didn't feel it. I didn't realize how important he was as a black man, as a business owner, as a father, as a provider. I didn't realize how important he was until I became an adult. I'm like, yo, you know what I could have learned from this man?
Yeah. I know what you mean.
Yeah, so that legacy thing, man, and you don't have to leave something tangible behind in order for it to be considered legacy.
Right.
I think people think that, but you being a good person, you teaching people, you giving back to people, putting people in position to do better for themselves. Like, that's all legacy. That's all legacy, and that's so important. Yo, when I die, if I don't have at least 10 people standing up at my funeral saying, yo, this man changed my life. If it wasn't for this man, like, I've taken people off the street and put them in my house. Like, I got one person in my house now, love him like a little brother, trying to school him to the game, trying to school him to the world. You know what I'm talking about. But yeah. So, like, I've and before him, it was another person named Julius. He had nothing.
Right.
He's homeless. He's on drugs. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Even in Virginia, it was a dude named Mark who was my studio engineer. And I didn't find out that he was homeless till he just said, "Hey man, would you mind if I stayed? Would you mind if I stayed here?" And I'm like, "Nah, you gonna work on some music?" He's like, "Nah, I mean like stay here." I'm like live here? And he's like, "Yeah, I'm kind of living in my car right now, man." And I'm like, "Yeah, I guess." You know, make sure you clean up. You know, make sure that any other. And then I didn't find out how severe it was till one day we all was sitting around the studio. Me, point guard, I think Gary was there, Deron was there, and they all was talking about smoking weed. And Point was like, "Yo, the first time I had this, blah, 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 this strand of weed, yo, I was gone, yo, it took me here, it took me there." And then the other dude was like, "Yo, the first time that I had that, yo, I fell out, I passed out." And another dude was like, "Yo, you got to try this, Then Mark said, "Man, the first time I smoked crack." Yo, the room got quiet.
Yo, why can't I imagine that, bro?
Yo, the room, like, everybody was just like, Okay.
Right. Okay.
And then one by one, people start dismissing themselves like, yo, I catch you later, man. I'm gonna get up out of here. Yo, and then people calling me like, yo, you got this crackhead staying in the studio. Yo, you crazy. You crazy. I'm like, yo, I didn't know.
Yo, man. You talk about random.
Yeah. But even after finding that out, like, he used to be a crackhead. Like, guess what? Like, I'm still gonna help you. I don't see that.
Right.
I don't see that.
That's important, man. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't judge. And me helping him help put him in a great position to work for. I don't even know what he's doing now. I need to catch up with him. But the last I saw, he was running a studio for a church, and he was traveling, doing sessions, and working with this gospel artist and that gospel. He's doing great, man.
That's dope, man.
And it's because of what I like. I gave him a place to stay and gave him access to a computer, a phone, so that he could make moves, make music, sell music, etc. So if something happened to me and that man don't speak at my funeral, man, I'm waking up from the dead. I'm gonna choke him out.
Straight up.
It's a fact. Yeah, man. Legacy is huge, man. As far as the other, I forgot what the other question was.
So the other one is who is D now compared to the old D? Like, what's some differences?
Some differences. I deal with women completely differently. Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
I deal with women completely differently. It takes a lot for you have to prove to me that you're worthy of everything that I have to give. And I don't mean that in like in a monetary gainful way.
Right.
What I mean is the heart that I have, the generosity, the caring, the being passionate. I'm a very passionate person, so I'm just as passionate about my woman as I am about, and this is gonna sound bad, but I'm just as passionate about my woman as I am about creating.
Wow.
And creating is, and not only is it important to me, but that's the medicine.
Right.
Like, that's the drug. That's what keeps me from going into that bathroom. Like I'm selfless. I'm always I always want to make sure that they're okay. Like, I can't even pick up my camera if they're not okay.
Right.
Like, I have to make sure that they're okay. And there's a lot of times when they're not okay. And then I want to pick up my camera, but I can't. And then that leads to a certain type of depression. So I got to take care of that situation first.
Yeah.
But yeah, I deal with women differently. And this probably sounds selfish, but I put the things that I'm passionate about first before anything, because I put other people's needs completely before mine, like 100% before mine, and I lost myself. Like, I stopped creating, and I feel like I had no purpose.
Right. Dang.
So I would like that. Like, I'm never going to stop creating. I'm never going to stop. I'm never going to put down the camera. I'm never going to, in some way, shape, or form, be involved with music. Yeah, so that I've learned to put me first.
Yeah, I think that's definitely it's very important. I mean, and I had a conversation with someone about like the meaning of being selfish, right? And a lot of times, I feel like the word can be like misconstrued. Like,
Yeah.
a lot of times people are really being selfish for the sake of being selfless. And what I mean is like when we create, when we're putting ourselves first in a lot of situations, we're doing it for the greater good. Because at the end of the day, like, I don't really know a lot of creatives. I mean, we do it because it makes us feel good, but at the end of the day, we want it to impact somebody too.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So it's like you have to almost like put everything aside for yourself so that you can, be impactful to the society in a sense. You know what I mean? So a lot of people look at, oh man, he's just being selfish. And sometimes I feel like when people call someone else selfish, I feel like that's like a manipulating way of trying to get them to stop doing what they're doing.
Oh, it definitely is.
Yeah. And I used to fall for that a lot, bro. I'd be like, man, I'm being selfish. Let me stop.
Oh
Man.
no, I'm not.
You know what I'm saying?
I'm so petty, bro.
Word.
I'm so petty. Like the worst thing that you could do is try to stand me down. Tell me you're so selfish. You only care about the things that are important to you.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like duh.
Yeah. But since you're saying I'm selfish, what about the time that I did this for you? What about this? And I hate to do that because I don't like when people do that to me. Like, if you did something for me, do it because you wanted to do it, not because you're trying to throw it up in my face later. And that's not why I do it, but I feel like I gotta defend myself. Like if you back me up against the wall with the hammers and you telling me you, and I'm like, wait a minute, what about all this list of times that I put you first before anything?
Yeah.
Like don't do that.
Right.
But yeah, you being selfish it has such a negative connotation. But it's necessary, man.
Definitely.
Like if I don't love me, like I can't love someone else or something else before myself.
Right.
Like I gotta love myself first so that I can love other things.
Yeah, it's facts. Yo, whenever I travel, it's a good scenario that I like to use. Like this happens each time I get on the plane, bro. And you know how like the flight attendant, they play the little video and they tell you, what to do in case of an emergency. And I always notice like they'll say like before masking anyone else, make sure you put the mask on yourself.
Facts.
So you know what I'm saying? Like even the kids, like don't like mask yourself first and then mask the kid. And it's like it's not a way of. A lot of times that could be like misunderstood too. Like, oh, what do you mean mask yourself before the kid? Like we, should be kids first. That's true, but the kid also needs to make sure that, the person that's masking them is not, you can't have a dead body masking somebody. You know what I'm saying? You have to have an actual live human being doing this. So to make sure, and then also, again, like, I mean, the adult definitely has probably a greater knowledge, and the kid probably doesn't understand what's being said on the on that TV right away, So,
Absolutely.
So, you got to have someone, again, you can't be of good service to anyone if you're dead or if you're, not even, if you don't know yourself or whatever it may be, you know what I'm saying? If you're grumpy, like you can't be a good service to someone. You can't make someone else happy by being grumpy.
Facts.
Like you have to make yourself happy in order to.
Facts.
Yeah.
I really hate when and this has happened. This has happened a lot, and I'm sure it's happened to you. I think you mentioned it earlier.
Yeah.
But, because we place such a priority and importance on the need to create, right? Mm-hmm. It's an emotional need. It's a mental need. It's a because we place such importance upon it, people take that as that's the only thing you care about, or you care about that more than you care about me. Mm-hmm. And it's not until I explain to people, yo, this is where I came from. Like I came from almost committing suicide and staring down the barrel of a gun because I wasn't loving myself. Because I wasn't passionate about those things that kept my mind growing and busy and just doing what I love to do.
Facts.
Don't say that's the only thing you care about. Like when you say that to somebody, like that's a trigger. Like that you're pulling a trigger, and that person is either gonna become defensive or they may even become depressed.
Yeah, because it confuses you in a sense. You know, emotionally, it's like you create this war. You know what I'm saying, between like the truth and a lie in a sense, and you end up that does pull people into depression because the person saying that, you know, that individual may actually care about that person, so they take their word serious.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So if someone's saying like, oh, you care about this more than anything, you know, you just care about that and that. And then it's like, yo, one, you feel misunderstood.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And two, you start questioning yourself like, okay, is this person right? Yeah, I mean, unless, you know, like you said, unless someone's built differently, they're like, man, get out my face with that. You know what I'm saying? And you instantly react to it. But yeah, man, that's a good point, man. But yeah, man. D, this has been, I think this is probably one of the best interviews I've had in the last episode. And it's only right because I always close the interview with this last question. So the question is, if you had word that, you know what I'm saying, like this will be your last year, 365 days on this planet, how would you view life? Would you change anything in your life? Like, how would your life look like after hearing that news?
That I had 365 days left?
Yes, sir.
The first thing I would do is I check my bank account.
Yeah, word.
Yeah, that's the first thing I'm gonna do. I'm gonna check my bank account, and then I'm going to take 10 checks, 10 blank checks, and I'm going to travel. I'm going to find 10 people, right? That have gone through situations that I've gone through, but didn't make that transition out. So there's a lot of things that could have happened to me, right? Due to the depression. Like I could have dropped out of school and like never went back, right? I could have blew my head off and still lived and then been paralyzed for the rest of my life. So what I would do is I would want to spend time with 10 people doing things that they've always wanted to do, but never got a chance to do it. If not even that, trying to create some sort of avenue for people. I'm still about just giving, man. Like I drive a Mercedes, right? Do I drive a Mercedes because like I want to be the man, or I drive a Mercedes because growing up, you know, those men that we looked up to in the neighborhood, and you know, the drug, that's what they drove, right? So that's just what I need to drive. It looks cool. Yeah, just get it. I don't think I'm better than anybody, but I'm at a point now in life where none of that shit matters, bro. Next year, I'm turning that shit in. Like I don't want it anymore.
Word.
I don't want it. The sneakers that I have,
Yeah.
I'm gonna give them away. I have a ton. I have a ton of I'm gonna give them away. And if I could get with you and we could film it,
Oh yeah, bro, that'd be crazy.
super dope. Yeah, because I got boxes and boxes and boxes and boxes of stuff that I'm like, yo, I don't need this stuff. There's people that really need shoes,
Facts.
not yo, I need the new Yeezys. These people need shoes, period.
Facts.
So whatever I have, like if I got 365 days left to live, I want to spend those days giving away whatever I have to people that actually need it or could use it. If I could find people that's going through things that I went through, people that are suffering from depression and saying, yo, check this out. I used to be you, and this is what I did. I picked up this camera. Yo, let me buy you a camera. Like whatever I could do to make an impact. I don't even want to spend time with the people that love me because I've given them everything that I could possibly give them. Like there's nothing like say like Duran. That's my brother. I love him to death, but there's I can't make a difference in his life.
Right.
Like I've already made a difference in his life.
Yeah.
So let's make a difference in somebody else's life
Facts.
that I've met. Like it just feels good. So like it just feels good. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, definitely.
Like,
I totally agree with that, yo.
Like those are the people that I want at my funeral. To come and talk and inspire other people. Like, yo, this guy didn't even know me, and he gave me $10,000 to go to school, or he gave me his camera, and it changed my life. Like so that's what I would spend the time doing. I don't want to spend the time with family. Like I just don't. Cause that's sad. Yo, that's sad. Like I don't want to spend time with my family, and they're like, yo, we're gonna miss you. So yeah, all right, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, we know this. We're all gonna miss each other.
Right.
Let me do something more constructive with my time than sitting around with people that love me, and maybe that's me being selfish, bro.
Yeah. But with a good cause attached to it, though. You see what I'm saying? Like.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like selfish. The word selfish is it's not one dimensional really. There's a whole lot of different like branches to being selfish. You know what I'm saying? Like you can never. The motive is always important, of course, but that's really up to the person who is quote unquote being selfish. No one else can really determine that. You know what I mean? And the truth always comes out. Like again, like you going out there, you trying to help people. Like these are the people that'll speak up for you at the end of the day. If your time was over and they be like, yeah, you know, D was a selfish man, and then next thing you know, you got that one kid that you impacted in the past. Nah, yo, I object. Like this man, you know what I'm saying? He taught me, you know, how to use a camera. He gave me my first camera, and you know, I remember like looking at his photos on the gram. He was inspirational. I follow his story, this and that, and now someone sheds a greater light on someone who was really trying to, you know, create like a bigger legacy, you know what I'm saying, by quote unquote being selfish, you know what I'm saying? So, I mean, again, that it's a very, like I said, being selfish, it people need to go into detail and and really not just come with this, you know, to me it's a dismissive way of not really wanting to know who a person really is, you know what I'm saying? So.
Yeah, like if you could tell me, like if it's somebody that is supposed to love you, right? Mm-hmm. And they tell you you're so selfish, you don't love me because you don't know you can't possibly love me, because for you to say that I'm selfish means that you don't know me,
right?
And in my opinion, you can't love something that you don't know.
Facts.
So that, yeah.
I like that, man. Yo, you got any closing statements, man, before we end this I want to call it a legendary interview?
That's funny. Live life, live, live life, love life, live the life you love the life you live. One thing I always say, you could probably see it in my post, yo, regrets make horrible roommates, man. When you gotta live with regrets, man, they don't go away. Like, so, live the life you love the life you live, do everything that you want to do in life, do it. Even if you aren't sure, do it. If you don't got the money, find a way. There's people that'll help you. You just gotta talk to them. But yeah, man. And one thing I want to say, this guy had said this to me one time. And I hate that I hold on to this thing that he said to me because he was actually a hypocrite. The one thing he said, as black men, we don't correct each other and check up on each other. Like, so, and now that I think about it, I think he was telling on himself when he said this shit to me. He was saying, like, if you're married and you're with your boys, right, and you're married and you see a woman and you're like, yo, she's bad, yo, oh man, boy, what I wouldn't do, and then the opportunity just might present itself for you to act on those things that you're referring to. Like, it's kind of our job to say, bro, nah, man, don't do that. Da 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 da. Your wife is our friend. Like, she's my friend too. Like, I'm not gonna let you do that, man. Yo, you got kids. Da da da. Like, we gotta be more responsible with each other.
Yeah.
It's this particular guy, like when he said that to me, he said, we don't, like, I can't remember the way he said it, but he was basically saying, like, we don't look out for each other the way we should. We need to be more vocal with our brothers, because, like, I don't want to make it a racist thing, but it's like, other I don't want to make it a racist thing.
No, it's all good. No,
he was making reference to his white friend, and he said that, his white friend, when his white friend was talking about another woman that's married, he said to him, yo, you are not cheating on your wife. And they were about to get into a physical altercation about this. Like, yo, I'm not gonna let you do this. Like that. And like, when he said it, I was like, yo, he's right. How many times have you sat with one of your boys and they're talking about doing something that they shouldn't do? Like, we've got to be more accountable for each other.
Definitely.
Yeah, I could tell you plenty. So there were times. There's times I sat with. I have friends that involved in all type of illegal activities, and they talk about what they gonna do, and I'm like, word, that's what you about to do?
Right.
Heard you. All right, man. Let me know how that go. Like, so we've just got to, like, let's be more accountable with each other. I come from an era. I grew up in the 80s. That was crack. That was crack city.
Yeah.
Like, we was losing our fathers left and right to drugs, to crack, man. So who was raising us?
Right.
So I could tell you off top, I was raised by Boogie Down Productions. Like, KRS-One was my dad. I can't remember the names of the members, but X Clan,
Yeah.
poor righteous teachers. You know, these were rappers, man.
Right.
These were rappers. You know what I'm saying? Teaching the Public Enemy. Like, these are rappers that are teaching us about the importance of being black and being men and being. So, and you already know, like, the youth of today don't have that at all.
Nah.
In terms of the music, they don't have that at all. So let's us, like, let us be. Let's be more accountable with our brothers, man.
Most definitely.
Let's be more accountable, man.
Most definitely, man.
Let's pull each other to the side and be like, yo, man, you're doing this wrong.
Yeah, man. It's very important, bro. Like, that's very well said, man. And yeah, man. The whole everything you've been saying, bro, has been very, very potent. I want to say, man. Like, yeah, and we just hit 2 hours, which is like, we probably going to break this down to like 2 sections because this whole interview needs to be heard, bro. Like, for sure, man. Well, for sure. Let the people, before we get off, man, let the people know where they can find you at, man.
See, so like the old D would have been like, yo, you find me at your mom's house. You know what I'm saying? But that's the old, that's a 20-year-old D. Nah.
In a neighborhood near you.
Find me at your mom's crib. Nah. I kind of live on Instagram right now. You can find me at by William Lee. That's BYWILLIAM LEIGH. That's my Instagram handle. That's also my Facebook handle. And I just started a creative portrait page, and it's called The Lee Hive, and that's _Lee_Hive. And I'm going to be sharing stories of some of the, like, I'm not even really interested in photographing models. I'm more so interested in the normal person, kind of like how you see somebody on the street and you just approach them.
Yeah.
And, hey, this is, I'm such and such, and this is what I do, and you just have a very unique and interesting look to you, and I'd love to photograph you, and kind of get some of their story and stuff.
Yeah.
Now, it won't be as good. It won't be as good as Everyday Strangers, but
it's gonna be great, man.
It's more so kind of just creating these moody photos that have survived. That just kind of have my vibe, just the stuff that I like to see. So yeah.
But dope. I encourage more people to really, I mean, even if it's not with a camera, just kind of like hit the streets, man, and just like learn from people. You know what I mean? Because that's, bro, I'm telling you, man, like my brain, like I literally feel it, like it expand each time I speak to someone. I'm like, yo, really? No, tell me more. And yeah, so like that's the whole point of why I'm doing what I'm doing, is to kind of like encourage more people to actually, you know what I mean, like engage more into like human connection, and less on the phone. Not not to say the phones are bad, but I just don't want our society to fall off to the point where like we just become like these hermits, like we don't like communicate in real life at all, So, but you look, man, like I said, it's been good, man. It's time for me to eat, man. Yo, your boy ain't eating nothing all day, man. I've been so ready for this interview, man. It's time to refuel.
Same here, man.
Sure.
Yo, I love you, bro. Keep doing everything you're doing, man. I literally love seeing when your stuff pops up on the screen when you in those different languages. That's crazy. That's super inspiring. I swear I heard you talking to a Martian the other day. I'm like, yo, how did you learn how to talk to a Martian? That's crazy. Man, to learn how to speak Martian.
Yeah, I'm trying to put more languages under my belt, man. You know, I'm trying to fit in any situation. For sure, man.
Keep on doing what you're doing,
man. Thank you, bro. That's love, man. I love you too, man. And like I said, bro. Hey, like I said, bro. It's the same thing on your end as well, man. I've been very inspired by your story, man. And like I said, but it's been like that since I was young, though. Like I said, you was the neighborhood hero, and yeah, bro. You continue to shine, man. So that's what I'm talking about.
Appreciate it, man.
For sure, man. All right, D, we catch up then, man.
Yes, sir.
All right, bro. Peace.
All right, so peace.